When we had finished our study of the Indian EVMs, we published a scientific paper detailing the findings, as well as a website and YouTube video that would explain to non-technical people what the problems were, that the EVMs could indeed be tampered with. At the same time, Harry went on to TV in the local region of India where he lived and gave live demonstrations using the actual EVM from the anonymous source, where he showed our display attacks and our clippy memory manipulation attacks to prove to everyone that tampering was possible. The Election Commission responded by saying that these findings were false, that either we didn't have a real machine or what we showed wasn't true because the machines were tamper-proof and perfect. But gradually, as the news percolated through Indian society and people came to read our claims and see our videos, there started to be wider doubt about whether what the Election Commission was claiming was actually true. Behind the scenes, however, the reaction was significantly more tense. We saw stories like this come out that alleged that Harry had been part of a foreign conspiracy to discredit India's democracy, and that it was being investigated by the Indian intelligence agencies. We got further interaction with the Election Commission when we invited some senior technical staff from ECI to come to the U.S. for the Electronic Voting Technology Workshop, which is one of the major scientific venues for research in this area. And we had a debate between them and me and Narasimha Rao, an Indian election activist who had written a book about the EVMs. Now, this discussion, this debate, was one of the most amazing, one of the most incredible discussions I've ever seen at a conference. To give you a sense for it, a fist fight almost broke out at one point. I'll put a link to it up on the course website, but it's really something you should check out if you have time. The upshot of it was that the Election Commission was still maintaining their claims that the machines were perfect, but they were starting to feel the heat. And when an international audience of researchers all started to raise very serious questions and not buy the claims that the machines were perfect at all, they knew they had a problem on their hands. A few days after that panel, the tension rose considerably. When Harry received this, it was a summons from the police. They were investigating the theft of the EVM, and they wanted to bring him in to Mumbai for questioning. Now, Harry and his lawyer were communicating with the police about this for several days after, but they apparently didn't want to wait, because one night at about 4 in the morning, Harry got a knock on his door. And a large squad of police officers rushed into his apartment and hauled him away. He was taken across the country by car from his home in Hyderabad to this particular police headquarters in Mumbai, about a 14-hour trip. Luckily, they left him with his cell phone, perhaps because they wanted to see who he'd tried to contact. But one of the people he called was me. And I have a recording of what he said to me that day from the police car, here for you to hear.
I'm okay, thanks. I'm okay. We just reached Mumbai. In another 20-25 minutes, we'll be reaching the police station. Police came to my house at 5:30 in the morning, saying that they're going to take me into custody, as I couldn't revert back to them on the anonymity. In the sense, like, I didn't disclose who has given me the mission. They said, like, if you want to get out of this, you have to find who has given you, and you get out of this issue, then nobody will touch you. The police are getting pressure on the top, so obviously they can't do anything. They have no other option than arresting me. The only thing what I want to say is this kind of intimidation will hit the hearts of volunteers, and no volunteer will come forward if this kind of thing happens in future. That's the reason I'm going to take it on and I'll face it so that the volunteers get inspired by me. And the ultimate goal is we have to achieve that these machines are not fit enough for the elections. This is what I'm thinking, and I want to say whatever research we have done or whatever work we have done is right with all my heart. Thanks for your concern.
Just listen to his voice. It's so amazing. Here's a man being hauled off across the country by the police for something he believes in so deeply. As he says, he's not going to turn over the anonymous source. He's going to keep his promise to protect that identity. He has to, because otherwise, who's ever going to come forward again and volunteer to blow the whistle on government corruption or false claims if they know they're just going to be revealed to the authorities the first time the police come calling? Harry was told by the police that that's all he had to do to make all of this go away. Just name the anonymous source. But he kept his promise not to reveal that source, even though he was held by the police for more than a week without getting to see his lawyer, even though he was interrogated several times a day. All he would say when they asked him, "Who gave you the machine?" was, "I don't remember." Now, in India, you don't have a right to remain silent, but apparently people are willing to believe that you can will yourself to forget a thing like that. And so that's the story that he maintained. After about a week, he finally got to come before a magistrate, and he was released from the police station, but had to remain under, essentially under house arrest in Mumbai for about another month. He couldn't go back to Hyderabad to see his family or to run his business. Fortunately, Harry soon received a call from one of the best criminal defense lawyers in the country who offered pro bono representation and defense. This man was the son of the man who had defended Indira Gandhi's assassins. Of course, they hanged for it, but we all hoped that Harry would fare better. Harry's arrest and his refusal to name the source made him into something of a celebrity in India. And during the time that he was held by the police, there was a tremendous amount of coverage, and people really started to pay attention to the findings that we were claiming, that the machines could be tampered with. Eventually, several weeks later, there was enough change in attitude that all of the political parties in India came together in Delhi, had an all-party meeting, and asked the Election Commission to investigate the findings and to find some way to add a paper trail to the EVMs to increase voter confidence. They basically asked the ECI to do exactly what we recommended in the paper and add some kind of transparent paper record to the EVMs. To our surprise, the Election Commission agreed, and over the time since then, they've been making amazing progress towards exactly that end. The Election Commission formed a special committee to study ways to add a paper trail, and even now they are prototyping and testing electronics and a new version of the EVM that add a voter-verifiable paper audit trail to the process. This would be a way to ensure that the electronics aren't cheating and that the system is counting with integrity. But what happened to Harry? Shortly after Harry was released from house arrest in Mumbai, he received a call from the Electronic Frontier Foundation. They named Harry a 2010 Pioneer Award winner, their highest honor for great work in civil liberties and in tech issues. They recognized Harry both for his work to reveal the problems with electronic voting in his country, and for the courage he showed maintaining his promise of anonymity towards his source. Harry got to travel to the U.S., where we met for the first time in my native country. We got to visit California, where he would accept the award at a ceremony in San Francisco. A few months after this, his case finally came to a conclusion when Harry got to go before a judge who declared that this man had done a service for his country, and that if anything, the government should be investigating the problems that he had pointed out, not harassing him or the sources who had helped him. So everything seemed good. Harry was out of trouble. The Election Commission has, as they continue to, they've continued to, been working to implement a paper trail to rectify many of the problems we pointed out. Everything seemed good until, that is, the next time I went back to India. But that's a story for the next segment.